Welcome again, everyone, to Intelligent Voices Israelites. I am your brother, Yazrael Yashamba Yah. Today, we have a very amazing segment here again at answering your emails. Oh, yeah. So we thank everyone for tuning in today to be grafted in through the Spirit of Yah to actually grab most more materials that you might need to tighten up on, or therefore need to distribute out to yourselves or to others, or particular verses that you might have been looking for. So give thanks to our brothers and sisters that have wanted these answers by their questions. So today we're going to be talking about Levites. That's right, everybody. Levites. Many times we have seen it in the book of our Bibles, and those of us who have read or come in contact with the Bible knows exactly the word Levite. When you hear the word Levite, we're clearly talking about those who are in covenant priests, covenant people, covenant children, and later on becoming what? Covenant priests by Yahuwah himself. So let's go into prayer, everyone, like we always do. We got possibly 2-hour window. And here it is at 1:35 Mountain Time, Arizona. Shalom, shalom unto our brothers and friends and sisters around the world on this Sabbath, Sabbath. We thank you, Father Yah, for bringing us together in this segment as we answer questions from our brothers and sisters who may never ever looked at these keynotes. So yes, we are doing keynotes and through the answering of your prayers. And we're so thankful that Yah has brought us all here together as we advance into more deep wisdom of our brothers and sisters, full knowledge, giving them clarity of transparency through the scriptures of the manifold, called the Bible. So, let's go into prayer, everyone. Almighty Father, we thank you so much for what you have done for us, allowing us to come together, assemble brothers and sisters around the world here at IVI, Intelligent Voices Israelites. We thank you so much, Father, for your grace upon us in the spirit of Yahweh, for you have elevated us, Father, in our knowledge, given us complete discerning understanding. And we thank you so much through the blood of sacrifice and the sacrifice that has now been installed into our hearts and every one of our brothers and friends and sisters around the world. Thank you so much, Father. Amen. So now, Levites. Now, when we hear the word Levite, everybody, those of us who have, been Christian before, we knew about going back into the times of Moses, and also in the times of Aaron and then his sons. But do you actually see the contributing of being a Levite today, everyone, as an Israelite return? Because what have we learned so far? That our Father, Yahuwah, through the Son of Sacrifice, which therefore Yeshua, have all given us through belief that we have the eternal, here it is, afterlife, because of the belief, because here it is, we are returning to who? The Son, because Yahuwah, the Father, have given the Son now all authority, and all authority to those who believe, right, in that Son, right? So now here it is, we know that is Yahweh, not Jesus, not Lord, not God, or any other deity, but we know that is Yahweh. And here it is, before we looked at the nations coming out of many other men, and here it is, and being brought out by one man, which was Moses, because we know of Egypt. And here it is, we know that his brother, and then his brother's sons, later became what? The Levitical priests. So yes, Levi, Levite, my sister. So Levite, this is allowing you to see that today in modern day times now, brothers and sisters, which is us, the offsprings of the Israelite nation, spread it abroad, which means scattered. And now everyone is coming back into the realization now, Esau now is a part of that emerger, because we know of the 1/3 of a mixed nation. So here it is. It's not talking to just the Hebrew Israelites of Africa, or those who therefore are so-called African Americans, but a mixed nation, that those who are coming in all different colors and backgrounds, right? Who would be called back in to be what? Levites, which will be now, here it is, the high priest for the kingdom. So now here it is, a Levite was a member of the family line of Levi. Now we know here it is through Moses was a Levi, right? And one of the sons of Jacob, and all of the priests came from the tribe of Levi. All right, so now as we go back to now here, let's look at Jesse and then David and then, his sons. Other Levites worked in the temple and were teachers of the law. Now understand this now, why I'm talking about modern day time Levi. Because here it is, every returning Israelite brother or sister, stand up here, is now becoming a Levite. Because here it is, you're being fit for a kingdom that is at hand, right? Remember the scriptures, everybody? So now here it is, when we look now, here it is by this understanding of logic, that clearly a Levite is the member of a Levi family. And here it is one, here it is, of Jacob's sons. And then realizing that all priests came, here it is, from what? Tribe of Levi. And then now we can realize the background of those ancestors' work. As we see, other Levites worked in the temple. What temple? Solomon's. Solomon, who came from David, and then therefore, right? So now here it is. We see that these Levites worked in the temple and were also teachers of the law. Then everyone had to bring their burnt offerings, votive offerings. To who? The Levites, the priests, who were at the tent of meeting, right? So now here it is. This is going to give our brothers and sisters who wanted to understand Levites today. Basically, here it is you and I, brothers and sisters, who have completely come back, grafted in under the righteous spirit of Yahweh by not wavering to the right or to the left, but going straight in the direction of the spirit of Yahweh and listening to the teachers of today's Yahweh, and understanding that here it is that they're also being directed by the power of the spirit in the grace of who? Yahweh. And that here it is, being a Levite today means that you are of Yahweh. Okay. So now here it is, it becomes a different priesthood. Not like the priesthood of Abraham, okay, Ezekiel, Jeremiah, okay, and so on, Moses, okay, and Joshua, okay. So now here it is, we're looking at today Levites, which now brings it to you and I, brothers and sisters, who therefore have to be completely submissive at all times as a Levite. But now let's look and see how the transitions of our ancestors' Levite or Levitical priesthood was times ours today, being in Levitical priesthood today, merged in under Yahshua, Yahweh, who is the high priest, and give us high priestship through the return of our blood and our, here it is, our spiritual sacrifice. Because here it is, what did we have to do as to become the modern day Levite? We had to give up what? Our spiritual old self. So therefore we can get to who? The high priest. Because then I just say the people had to go to the high priest back in the days of Moses, Abraham, and on and on. Burnt offerings was always given to Yahuwah if there wasn't a priest. Because here it is, we have followed the background of the historical record books of our ancestors, right? Which is called the Hebrew Bible. if anyone have read it, which we all have here who are here at IVI, because this is why we're intelligent voices, Israelites, because we read, we research, and we follow our brothers and sisters who we know Yah has supplied Levitical priesthood to give us the missing puzzle pieces that therefore we have therefore now getting downloaded in us today. So here it is. Now this message can be reached even past just IVI, because now here it is. It have now went into new wine skin, which is you and I, brothers and sisters. So now I'm going to be reading out of, let's see here. Shalom, shalom, friends, and everyone abroad. Shalom. So now here it is. We're going to be looking here in the book of Numbers, chapter 1. Now we're going to see what our ancestors' Levitical priesthood was like, and why now here it is. We got to even be more thankful for our Levitical priesthood today. That means here it is, because the spirit of Yahweh, who is the high priest, have now possessed each and every last one of you. Amen. Because now here it is. You walk in a high priesthood of what? Moral conduct and moral respect. For now, here it is, what is commanded of you, which is through the Hebrew Bible. This is what makes a true Levite returning today. So now when you look at these messages, these puzzle pieces that will be given out today, when we get to Numbers chapter 1, look at verse 47, everyone. Now, this is what my Father wants you to know and understand, because this is going to elevate you sky high. Now, when you look here at verse 47, and he says clearly, he says, now the Levites were not enrolled by their ancestral tribe. See this? Set apart with the others or with the nations. Okay. And then it says, verse 48, for the Almighty Yahweh had told Moses, the tribe of Levi or Levitical or Levite alone, here it is, you shall not enroll nor include in the census along with the other Israelites. See that? And now as we see this here, right? Verse 50, you are to give the Levites, here we go, charge over the tabernacle of the covenant, right? So they were in charge of making sure all the Israelites knew the truth. All the Israelites was told by Yahuwah what to do, how to do it, and when to do it, right? So that requires what? Complete obedience, okay? Different than what you see today or what you have seen in your past with ministers, pastors, evangelists, and so on, right? So now he says, with it and all equipment and all that belongs to it. Now, didn't I just say earlier that they were also teachers of the law and workers of the law? So someone had to always construct things, put things together. Not all were teachers. So now he says, it is they who shall carry the tabernacle with all of its equipment, and who shall, here it is, be its ministers, and they shall camp, here it is, or assemble all around the tabernacle. Verse 51, when the tabernacle is to move on, here we go, the work must be done. The Levites shall take it down. When the tabernacle is to be what? Put back up, it is the Levites who shall set it up. Any unauthorized person, here it is, who comes near it shall what? Be put to what? Death. Remember Uzzah at the time of the Ark of the Covenant, leaving from Philistine, going into the city of David. So now here there's 52. The other Israelites here there shall count according to their companies. That means according to their tribes, each in their own divisional assembly. But the Levites, here we go, shall camp around the tabernacle of the covenant. For what? To ensure that Yahuwah's wrath or judgment would not fall upon the Israelite community. See that? They were taught, here it is by Yah, to keep the other Israelites in line. You can see that right there. And this is why you got to realize who is a real prophet before you, who is truly being used in the spirit of Yahweh fully before you, right? So now here it is, answering this email is answering our questions to everyone's question. Because here it is, one got to realize what type of Levite are you? Are you a worker or are you a teacher? So then he says, the Levite shall keep guard over the tabernacle of the covenant. So now that's like security. And then he says, the Israelites complied, here it is, and they did just as the Almighty Yahweh had commanded what? Moses. So now here it is. This is clearly in the start of this answering of what is a Levite. Is basically allowing you to see the past, the present, and then also going to see the future Levitical priesthood. Here it is, as it is coming back together, brothers and sisters, today. The call of all Israel and the call of Judites, or Yahudites, who are of Judah, and here it is set apart from all the other nations. That's why we tell you we're IVI. Intelligent Voices Israelites, set apart. Not saying that we don't have love for our other brothers and sisters who are working towards their grace with Father, but here it is. We know we have been sent and told we are set apart because what we have is totally different. But here it is the same when it is now received, such as you brothers and sisters who are part of IVI. As you have learned vast information in short amount of time, without all of the hoops and loops that you might have went through with many others, right? Because Yah says, here it is, a time is coming, and I am calling in my Levitical priesthood, who will be women as well, right? And also men as well, right? So now here it is. And the young ones that are older enough, who it is, could realize that they're little prince and princesses. See that? So now here it is, you have a bigger now picture in your head of when you look at Levite, the word Levite. And before you start to therefore tear apart something that you didn't understand, Yah has brought now before us all a question and an answer to allow now one to now be, here it is, elevated in a way of understanding that now you must understand, is you a Levite working or teaching the word of Yah, assembling for the word of Yah? Because as we just seen here, they always put the tabernacle together and they always tore it down. So here it is. That means that requires work. So are you today modern day Israelites working for your Levitical priesthood? Because now, just in the beginning, we can see all our ancestors' efforts towards the pleasing of Yahweh. Now, let's look at Numbers chapter 8. If we so will go here. And in here, Numbers chapter 8, I want you to focus, everyone, on verse 5 through 26. Because see, here it is. Father is using others to submit questions for the world to realize how much answers to your questions is now available. Because here it is, it's already always been here, but man and woman have never looked in this direction of themselves as being priests. They always thought they had to go to one. And here it is today, Catholics always call on a priest, but not looking at them. They depower their own Levitical priesthood. So Yah says, no. Why would you want to devalue yourself as a priest of high stature with Yahweh, the one who created every man, woman, child, and animal? So here it is. When we got this email, it was like, wow, this is exactly what needs to be discussed. So now here it is. Yes, when you do see the Levites, yeah, you hear of the stories and you hear of the set apart. You hear of them, here it is, this and that. You might have heard 1,000 parts to one story that has been told right the first time, but have been taken out into the world in 1,000-part effort to therefore disturb your understanding. Yah was telling us later down the road, generations, you will realize you are now the priest becoming, because you got Yahweh, who was a high priest and became the high priest. And now here it is able to make every man, woman, high priest through their believing of the law of the covenant, as we just seen here. They were protecting the covenant, right? Now, as we get to Numbers 5, chapter 8, verse 5. So what do we see here? He says, the Almighty said to Moses, take the Levites from among the Israelites and clean them. This is what you shall do to them to cleanse them. Sprinkle them with the water of purification. Have them shave their whole bodies and wash their garments, right? And so to cleanse themselves. Then they shall take the bull from the herd along with its grain offering of the bran of flour mixed with oil, and you shall take another bull from the herd for a purification offering, bringing the Levites before the tent of meetings. Not all of the Israelites, just the what? Levites to the tent of meetings. You shall assemble, not a camp. Also the whole community of the Israelites. When you have brought the Levites before Yahweh, the Israelites, here it is, shall lay their hands on them. See that? So brothers and sisters, understand, if you are a teacher, remember I talked in my video about the shimmers. You get them all over your skin, right? This is mean the spirits that here it is no one else can see, but your brother Yisrael Yah, Yeshamba Yah can see through the spirit of Yahweh. I can see those touching me, giving me the shimmers, okay? Because they are laying their hands on me in praise. That means brothers and sisters that basically have already gone on ahead of us, who are now visible, and they have now become invisible. But they are basically thankful for every brother and sister that saves their life. So that means that's the laying of hands. So now here it is. When you have brought the Levites before the Almighty, the Israelites shall lay their hands upon them. Aaron shall then, here it is, present the Levites. Now, who presents us now? Yahweh. If you possess. Back then, we are seeing here a clear example of a Levite or Levitical priesthood, how it was done in the physical. And now here it is, it's being aired out today through this answering of the email about how it's done today in modern day times for us, you and I, brothers and sisters. Verse 11, Aaron shall then present the Levites before the Almighty as a what? Elevated. Did I say? This elevates you now. Offering from the Israelites that they may perform the service. What is the service? Stand in covenant, brothers and sisters, during the festivals, teaching wherever you can, being fat, faithful, available, and teachable, right? Not only for ourselves, but also for brothers and sisters that therefore is around us. We got to be faithful, available, and teachable. Because what they see we do, they will do. Then the Levites keep everybody in line when we read earlier in Numbers 1. This is what we're doing. We're becoming elders to those who are still growing as Israelites. So now what do you see here? He says, they may perform the service of the Almighty, verse 12. The Levites in turn shall lay their hands on the heads of the bulls, offering one as a purification offering, the other as a burnt. See, here it is. They turned around and here it is. Bless the person who was given an offering of an animal to the tent of meeting to therefore not be contaminated. Now Yahweh laid his spirit up on us, up on our heads. See that? And offered our spirit as a what? Purification offering, because we were sinners. We wasn't Levites. We didn't know nothing about Israel or Israelites, right? So now here it is. We're seeing that now the crossover have now become by the spirit of Yahweh, and we're seeing now offered as a burnt offering to the Almighty to make what? Atonement. So Yahweh now makes atonement for us, right? Back then, our ancestors who were Levites, this is the way they did it. So now in order to know how precious and valuable this topic is, Levite, the brother, the sister wanted to know, it's now going to take you and I farther from just looking at the word of our ancestors to now embrace now our high priesthood through the spirit of Yahweh, who now have given us grace of a higher elevation by his spirit. And now as I continue, then in verse, then you shall have the Levites, verse 13, stand before Aaron and his sons, and you shall present them as an elevated offering to the Almighty. You shall separate the Levites from the rest of the Israelites, and the Levites shall what? Belong to who? Yahweh. So these are instructions given. Only then shall the Levites enter upon their service. See, Yah appoint us to be either workers of the tent of meetings, assisting brothers and sisters who are teaching, or he give us the grace to be teachers because he selects us, right? To be, here it is, Levites or Levitical priests. Everybody's learning, even when they're working. So now realize, he says, verse 15, this service in the tent of meeting, when you have cleansed them, see that? So he's not saying come as you are, like the churches. He says, no, you got to get cleansed before you even get to the tent of meeting, before you can even get near my priest. Cleanse yourselves. He says, and present them as an elevated offering. Verse 16, for they among the Israelites are totally dedicated to me. I have taken them from myself in place of everyone that opens the womb. That means every human being that comes to a woman's womb. Firstborn of the Israelites. So now here it is. Back then, this was the decree. But now, everyone that comes through the womb of human as well, through Yahweh's new birth, born again. Remember he told Nicodemus, no one can enter the kingdom unless they are born again. Of what? The word of Yah. Verse 17, indeed, all the firstborns among the Israelite human beings and the animals alike belong to me. I, here it is, consecrate them, here it is, to myself. On the day I killed all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, but I have taken the what? Levites. Right there. Nobody have ever saw that. ever saw that Yahuwah, the Father, before Yeshua even showed up, because as we know, this is still in the time of Moses, he said, I will, here it is, have the Israelites, all of the firstborn Israelites, but I have taken the Levites in place of all the firstborn Israelites. Because here it is, who became Israel? Jacob. So that means here it is, Jacob is Israelites, right? So that means here it is, Judah is set apart because Judah is a Levite who came out of the north, right? Who was the elder that helped, here it is, Jacob in the north and the south split when they came back together. But now here it is, you're seeing a close-up back, here it is, back scene, because he says, but I have taken the Levites in place of all the firstborn Israelites. And then from among the Israelites, see that? I have given to Aaron and his sons these Israelites. See that? Who are to be what? Dedicated or special. And here it is, to perform the service of Israelites in the tent of meeting. Because Yah says every person ain't going to operate like I instruct them. So here it is, I have to, here it is, select my people very well because they are so stubborn in anything that I tell them to do. So here it is, these are very special people, men and women, who therefore will be a Levite, special, set apart to me, unlike their brothers and sisters who are in their world. Because here it is, their brother and sister in the world, they follow all religions. They follow birthday, Christmas, Easters. They follow everything that is led astray. They put it in their mouth. And here it is, they know that they can afford better, but they still put foul defilement in their mouth, and then they release it out of their mouth. And then they still say and call themselves blessed. By who? Because you are definitely not my father's Levite. And here it is, when the brother and the sisters who therefore also wanted to know about Levites, who were them and how were they and what are they today, this is going to give a brother and sisters better understanding of yourselves, who are all returning. Here it is. And most of you can be Israelites, but you're going to find out that even now, here it is, you are set apart. Because here it is, you got to become now under the house of Judah, and you got to respect that. Because remember, Jacob used to be, okay, the head. And now here it is, there was a special remnant given unto David as his household will remain. How? Because of the rescue of who? Judah. Now he says clearly, and to make an atonement for them so that no plague may strike among the Israelites should they come too near the sanctuary. Verse 20. This then is what Moses and Aaron and the whole community of the Israelites did. Here we go, y'all. With respect, there we go, to who? The Levites. And the Israelites did exactly as Yahweh had commanded Moses concerning them. When the Levites has purified themselves, washed their garments, here it is, Aaron presented them as, here it is, elevated. So each camp or every assembly that was around this tent of meeting with the people, moving with the people, each one of them got elevated at a particular time. A man, a woman, a child, so on and so on. So it's showing you here, no one got elevated right away. That came in time. Just as it is today with our brothers and sisters. They want grace quick. They want the kingdom of the Most High fast by a water baptism. You can't get it that way. You can't be a Levitical priest or Levite that way coming back returning. Because here it is, Yah is proving it. So now, verse 22, only then did they enter upon this service, right? After they have cleansed themselves and made atonement. And then he says, in the tent of meeting under the supervision of where? Aaron and his sons who are before them. Exactly. he says, as the Almighty had commanded Moses concerning the Levites, so it was done with regard to them. The Almighty said to Moses, this is the rule. Now understand, once you have returned now and become now an Israelite, and now have found out your identity through your, here it is, your male parent, that you are Judah, every person in your household, even though they can be from Gad, they can be from Issachar and whatever, Judah, by you realizing that you are Judah, this applies directly to you because it tells you are a Levite now, a high priesthood with Yeshua, and you are to take every rule serious because he says clearly, this is the rule for the Levites or Judah. Everyone 25 years old or more, watch what he says. Now, this is throughout, from time to time, from our ancestors on to now modern day time. No one has ever saw this. And this is why brothers and sisters cannot force themselves to be priests and cannot force themselves to be workers for the priests. Watch. He says every 25-year-old or more shall join the personnel in the service. See that? Everyone. That means all these young men that's 25, young women 25. If you are not been instructed to be a teacher, then here it is, how could you be instructed to be a worker of the house of the Most High? If you're not following the personnel, those who are in service, like it was with Aaron and his sons. So now here it is, after you get cleansed in your mind, which is basically picking up your salvation helmet, putting it back on your head so you can think right, then your heart follows the Most High decrees through his what? Levites, who are Israelites, and now here it is, Judah, teaching you to now become a Levite and a better, here it is, acknowledgement for priesthood, high priesthood. Because he says, verse 25, but everyone 50 on up, watch this, but everyone 50 on up shall what? He said retire. Because here it is, Yah says, if you have been in service around this time and before this time, you were real good. But if you are now just returning, that means you're an old Israelite returning because you done heard the truth, heard Yahweh's real name, know the trick of the trap of the churches, have left the church, right? But here it is, you have now been grafted in under a teacher of Yahweh who is of Judah, such as Aviah, your brother, Yisrael Yeshambayah, or one of my brothers, Obadiah, here it is, or many others, and sisters and brothers. So here it is around this globe. He says, now when you who are 50, right? But everyone 50 on up shall what? Retire from the work, right? The work what? Force. And then he says, and serve no more. Now we're pertaining not to a regular Esau job, but we're talking about the service of Yahweh. Because he just said it starts at 25, working with the personnel. That means here it is, you can be helping out, doing whatever it is. But then here it is, you can also be called later to what? To be a teacher because of your affiliation with the personnel, right? And that means the elder brothers and sisters who have been before you, been teachers before you. So now here it is, you now become bind with their process, which is a process from who? Yahweh. Because he says, retire from the workforce and serve no more. They shall assist their what? Fellow Levites. See, that's what elders do. When we got a grandparent, don't our mothers, our dads say, go, well, grandmama or grandpa gonna get it for you. I can't get it, but grandpa and grandmama gonna get it for you, right? For those of you who have grandparents and the kids have grandparents. So he says, they shall assist their fellow Levites in the tent of meetings in performing their duties. See, that's what we're doing. We're assisting our younger brothers and sisters who therefore have returned, have worked on the wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding. But here it is, have got all of the order wrong about looking at themselves as set apart in a Levitical priesthood state of mind. Because he says, but they shall not do the work. This then is how you are to regulate the duties of the Levites. See that? Because y'all want the younger to be inspired by this grace of being a high priesthood in a kingdom. See? And this is going to allow brothers and sisters now, when you teach this and they hear this, they're going to basically be able to formulate this on further into their structures and surroundings. And brothers and sisters get well by understanding, here it is, brother, sister, do you not know? Have you not seen that you are a Levite set apart? Because here it is, even if it is through your male parent, who in Numbers, here it is, and then when we look at Numbers 1:18, comes from the lineage, Hebrew lineage of a so-called African American, then you are of Judah. Your whole household is covered if that Judite is following, here it is, his Levite heritage as a worker or as a teacher of the law, as we just have read, right? So now let's look at Nehemiah, everyone. Go to Nehemiah chapter 12. Watch this. Nehemiah chapter 12. Look at verse 27 through 30. Watch this. 27 through 30. At the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem, the Levites were sought out wherever they lived. See that? People had to always get the Levites to answer a question. Now, this is why we're answering emails, right? Because people who are basically with us still, here it is, come and watch the videos, and here it is, attend the assembly. But here it is in the backside, what we're seeing, what you are seeing, brothers who are new to us, IVI, and sisters who are new to IVI, and hope that you have hit the subscribe and became a member. Because here it is, what you are seeing here now, dedications of the wall of Jerusalem. The Levites were sought out wherever they lived. See, this is why Yah says in the end times, I will raise up a Levitical priesthood. For who? Israel and Judah. Because not only Israel need help, Judah as well. So now he says, and were brought to Jerusalem to celebrate a joyful dedication with thanksgiving. Now here it is. We celebrate our Thanksgiving now in the spirit. We don't have to go to Jerusalem. Because here it is. We celebrate it through Yahweh, right? Because here it is. Yahweh have done all that we need. And here it is. We don't have to go anywhere. And he says, a joyful dedication with thanksgiving, hymns, and music. And then now here it is. Scroll all the way down to verse 30 for me. Because here it is in 28 and 29, just naming off the names. And now in verse 30, the priests and the Levites first purified themselves. Then they perform or purified the people, the gates and the walls. Now we understand why the Levites purified with the blood on the Ark of the Covenant. And also Moses sprinkled the blood on the people when it was at the mountain of Mount Seir. So here it is, because they were saying that they was going to obey my Father, your Father, the Most High. So here it is. We see they was being purified, cleansed. And here it is, not only the gates and the walls, you see that? Not only the gates and the walls, but everything. So that means that everyone now returning have to be what? Everything returned under the spiritual law as a Levite for his household. Because here it is, the man is the head of the house, and who is the head of him? Yahuwah, right? Y'all know them scriptures. That's the basics. By now, y'all know that. But for all our new brothers and sisters that are attending or catching this live stream or might catch it afterwards, they will hear this message and then therefore be confirmed. So now look clearly here, and as we were in Nehemiah, let's go to Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 33. And when we get to Jeremiah 33, look at verse 17 through 22. He says, this says the Almighty, David, here it is, David shall never lack a successor. See that? On the throne, here it is, of the house of Israel, not Judah, Israel, because Jacob became Israel. So we're talking about a mixed tribe, okay? So now here it is. We have seen that with many ministries, evangelists, and also capitalism. And we have seen that with the Israelis causing themselves the children of the book, but have now been dethroned, a liar made to look like the truth, right? Because now we have realized the so-called African American who has been scattered, okay, is the real children of Israel. So now keep that in mind. Verse 18, nor shall the priests of the Levites ever be lacking. So now here it is, Israel be grafted in through Judah to become what? A high priest. And also a purified priest with no blemish. Because we just proved a Levite had to be completely submissive, subordinate, right? Under the constructions of the commandments of the house or the tent of meeting, right? That is the ordinance that comes by the law of grace through spirit of Yahweh now, right? So now you can see how this Levite have now become in the modern day a spiritual one, built for a spiritual kingdom that is now will be manifested physically in the sights of the purified who? Judites or Yahudites. Because he says, Levi, here it is, the priest of Levi, here it is, ever be lacking, nor shall the priest of Levi ever be lacking before me to sacrifice burnt what? Offerings, which is now your obedience, to burnt, here it is, cereal offerings, and to make sacrifices. This word of the Almighty, Yahweh, also came to Jeremiah. This says the Almighty, if you can break my covenant with day and my covenant with night, so that day and night no longer appear in the proper time, only then can my covenant with my servant David, it is, be broken. Now stop there. Understand this right here. Man and woman who are archaeologists are always, or who are in science, right, are always trying to look for ways to figure out how the world started, right? Y'all remember the Big Bang? Came from a rock. Then they said we came from a monkey. But then people ask, well, why all the monkeys in the zoos ain't turned to humans? And we came from a gorilla, right? Y'all remember all these stories. So now when you look right here, only then can my covenant with my servant David be broken. So you got to say, if Israelis who said before they was the children of the book, why is they trying to break their own covenant by trying to find out the ways of creation? Because that would break their covenant with Yah, wouldn't it? That would break David's house in half, right? That means they're trying to not let David's house stand. Many people have missed that. Because you had archaeologists always digging in Egypt, looking, discovering, rediscovering. You got science in NASA, right? And they always saying they trying to figure out how things were created and how can we explore, right? But see, people misunderstand who wasn't really Levites. That what you was hearing was that news meant for today and today for tomorrow for those who were here. Because here it is, the devil have always said he wants to try to get above the stars. Above the stars means through the firmament, which have never happened, right? So now my father said, until that can happen, then shall my covenant be annulled with David, right? Until then, it will be in effect because they will come under who? Judah. Because he says clearly, so that he will not have a descendant to act as king upon his throne. See that? And my covenant with the priest of Levi who ministers to me. See that? He didn't say Israel ministered to me. He said Levi. So Levi is a who? Judah. Levi is Judah, set apart from all Israelites. So here it is. You'll find out your place, my brothers and my sisters, through this answering of this email, which is talking about Levi. When you see that word in your Bible and the history of it, and now understanding the present term, he says, verse 22, just as the host of heaven or the creator of heaven cannot be numbered, here it is, and the sands of the sea cannot be counted, so I will multiply the descendants of David, my servant, and here it is, the merging of Israel and Judah, and the Levites. See, he called David my servant. He didn't call him the head. He called Levites the head, right? He said, here it is, David is my servant, and Levi or Judah who ministers to me. That's your brother Yisrael Yeshambayah. That's you, sister or brother, who are a part of IVI. You minister. See that? Because you know you are Levite now under Yeshua's spiritual, here it is, commandment of grace by the blood of sacrifice, and the will have been done in you as it has been done in him unto the Father. Right there. So now, this allows you to see how David or the Israel or Israelites who are under David or under, here it is, Jacob, remains or come in under Judah, us. Because we have the information and the puzzle pieces that they didn't have. So here it is to patch you up and to elevate you up with us. Because here it is, we are all children and sons and daughters of the Most High. And we work together on this tabernacle. Each one of us bring information that one haven't discovered because we're not working in that area of position. Because we're all surrounded around Yahweh, always working and guarding and making sure things stay tight and right. And this is how you're going to realize the Levites of the past, the Levites of today, times also the Levites for our future, right? So now, as I done got to 22, he says, here it is, will minister to me. Let's look at Luke chapter 10. Go to your new book. New Testament, Luke chapter 10. See, this is going to give you better awareness of why your brother Yisrael Yeshambayah in the grace of my Father Yahweh is I am in obedience to the teachings, my brothers, my sisters, to allow you to see that this is how we're kingdom of priests. Many have missed this in their books, haven't seen it. It's been laying right there for your understanding. So Luke chapter 10, look at verse 25. And we're going to go all the way to verse 37. Verse 25 through verse 37. There was a scholar of the law who stood up to the test to test him and said, Teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life? Yahshua, Yahweh said to him, what is written in the law? How do you read it? He said in reply, you shall love, there we go, the Almighty, your Yahuwah, with all your heart first. Then you must do it with all of your being and with all of the strength you have and with all of your common sense of mind. And here it is, your neighbors, love them as you are loving yourself. He replied to him, verse 28, you have answered correctly. Do this and you will what? Live. See that? Do this and you will live. But because he wished to justify himself, he said to Yeshua, and who is my neighbor though? See, that's the devil is always picking. But see, this is not a fire, this is light. Because here it is, he's trying to see if Yeshua have a flaw. So he's trying to cover up some light by saying, well, who is my neighbor? Because he said, love your neighbor as you can love yourself. So who is my neighbor? And then he says, a man fell victim to robbers as he went down from Jerusalem to Jericho. He was stripped and beat him. And here it is, robbers went off, leaving him half dead. A priest, here it is, a Levi, happened to be going down that road, right? Or so-called. But when he saw him, he passed by on the opposite side. See this, brothers? You see this, sisters? We're still talking about answering the email about the topic of Levi. When you see the word Levi, you're getting an understanding of the past Levi, and now here it is, the present Levi. In order for that Levi in the present to see his future, we're seeing the examples. He says, but when that priest happened to be going down the road, but when he saw him, he passed on the opposite side. Likewise, a Levite, see that, came to a place or came to the place, and when he saw him, he passed by the opposite side. You see this? Yah is showing you how you have missed the mark as priests. Because here it is, he knows each and every one of his priests because they're set apart from Israel. That means we're at close watch than the rest of Israel. Okay? So you will know when you done did what you have did and when you have not did and when you have. So now he says, here it is clearly, verse 33, but a Samaritan traveler who came upon him was moved Here it is. For what they saw. Their heart had what? Compassion at the sight. He approached the victim. See that? Not somebody that just fell down and no problem. No, this person was hurt. He approached the what? Victim, because he just got robbed and beat up. Poured oil and wine over his wounds and what? Bandaged him. Now keep in mind, this is a Samaritan who don't even know about priests or being a Levite, as we just seen the first two. This person is a complete human being, a Samaritan. He says clearly, bandaged them. And then he says, then he lifted him up on his own animal, took him to a place or an inn, and cared for him. The next day he took out 2 silver coins and gave them to the innkeeper with the instructions, take care of him. This was the note that he left because he couldn't stay no longer with the man, with the woman. Okay. He says, take care of him. Because I said with the woman, because this could have been a woman too. And it happens today. People get put in the hospitals, beat up for no apparent reasons. Out of nowhere, demons attack, right? So now here it is. He says, if you spend more than what I have given you, I shall repay you on my way back. So he tell him, not only do I travel this road often, I'm quite sure you know me, and here it is, if there's any more to be paid, catch me on my way back. Verse 36, which of these 3, in your opinion, watch what Yeshua says, as Luke is re-editating to a group. He says here, which of these 3, in your opinion, was neighbor to robbers, here it is, or a victim? Which one? Which one of these? Here it is. And he says, verse 36, he answered, the one who treated him with mercy. Yeshua said to him, go and do likewise, son. See that? Go and do likewise, son. This is what we are instructed to do, my brothers and sisters, as returned Israel and Judah. This is how you're going to realize what, here it is, role you are designed to play. Because we done seen that in the past, Levites were basically those who helped the personnel, helped the other brothers who they knew were priests and priests sent by Yah. They made sure they got every word or everything done out for the priest. So the people, when they came, the priest was ready to do Yeshua's work, and they was ready to listen and learn to become Levites like them. They were only set apart so the people could see the difference of conduct. Okay? So now answering this email for our brothers and our sisters today, here on this segment, is allowing you to see clearly why, when you see the word Levite, it should be even more special in your heart and also flourishing in your mind. Because here it is, it's going to allow you to see which part you're doing. And here it is. It doesn't matter if you're sent to be a teacher of the law or a person to be, here it is, helpful to the personnel of that assembly. Because here it is, you're still a part. You're telling people about this. See that? That's working. And back then they were, adding the poles, making sure the sheets was over, everything right, setting up all the fun. But now in modern day time of Levitical priesthood, those of you who are not called to be teachers, but who have been hearers and listeners, just as it was read a moment ago, in this time, you are to continue to go and allow people to know where they can find the truth. Friends, family, co-workers, or neighbors. See that? And here it is. You got to, here it is. If you heard something, know something, say something. Because here it is. It's going to allow more brothers and sisters. Because here it is. Your heart is the one calling them in. See that? And if they really love you, they'll come in through you. See that? And here it is, you might have got the card, and here it is, they coming in through you, as we just read. See that? Because it's being grafted in through the same spirit of love, that compassion. So now here it is, you're basically, when you see the word Levite in your book, as you have read in the Old Testaments, and now you have seen in Luke, that word is still in full effect in the New Testament, because now they have elevated your understanding with the logic that has been spoken by your brother Yazrael Yeshambaya in the spirit of Yahweh, who I am obedient to, and it is shouted out abroad loud as my wife, who are here also, Yazrael Yamaikaya, who have been also the one helping assemble this channel to make sure everyone is able to still get everything that she hears, I hear, and now here it is, you hear. Because it is Yah in the spirit that is teaching all of us and guiding us in love for each other. That's why we come together. Because we want to know our brothers and sisters. We want to hang out with our brothers and sisters, wherever they might be closely at. But if they're not abroad, then here it is. We send our love out abroad around the globe to you. And we want you to do the same thing, because you are a Levite set apart. That means your husband, boyfriend, who therefore is having a Hebrew parent, who don't have a Caucasian parent, that means he's a Judah, because he have a parent that is from or to the lineage of Africa. He's a so-called African American who is a Hebrew lineage back to Africa. That's why we say you're a Hebrew Israelite, because you ain't from Africa, but your lineage is through the ancestry of Africa. Because you wouldn't have been here if they wouldn't have came from Africa and became enslaved in plantations, and then later you became the offsprings, and later offsprings of. So you get it. So now here it is, brothers and sisters, that is my time for today. Join up with us again next time. I send out my love and shalom, shalom to all our brothers and friends around the world. I hope this, and I know this lesson, this segment broadcast have been a pleasure for all. Until next time, always know we are out of time but never out of word. Shalom.